Hello everyone, and welcome back to World of Warships Blitz with Terry. Today we will be looking at the first Canadian battleship in the game. Yes, this is the Yukon. To nobody's great surprise, the Yukon didn't exist. The Canadians never built a battleship to my knowledge, at least not during that time. And there was a ship in the Canadian Navy called the Yukon. That was a, I think, post-war destroyer, somewhere in around 1950s, 60s from memory. I could be wrong there. I'm going to have to look it up. But this here, given that Canada was part of the Commonwealth, was pretty much a, well, not quite a King George V, but somewhat similar. We'll see in a minute how we got there. So, the first thing we're going to have to look at is a bit of a comparison. Now, obviously, given that it looks kind of like a King George V, and the description says that it was a King George V prototype of sorts, well, we're going to have to compare her to the King George V. The first thing that stands out is that we do not get a rapid reload, but we get 4 scout planes. This is a bit strange, because the scout plane has a 90-second cooldown, and I'm not aware of any captain skills that reduce that. So what on earth would you need 4 of the buggers for? You're not going to be able to use 4 of them in a battle, right? I mean, unlikely. unless you're starting it like right off the bat, where it doesn't make much of a difference. But yeah, okay, you get 4 of them. Not complaining here. The hull looks pretty similar. The difference in ship hit points is marginal, and she gets a very slightly better torpedo damage reduction. Other than that, it's very similar. The maneuverability is interesting, because while she's got the same top speed and for all intents and purposes the same sort of the same acceleration or similar acceleration and actual turn time or traverse speed, the turn time on the rudder is very different. This is a 9.9 second base turn time, compared to a 14.7 seconds on the King George. That is substantial. So this is almost cruiser maneuverability here. And we also don't get the same guns as on the King George. These are 381mm guns. So what's going on here? Well, the British, when they were trying to design a King George V class, were initially considering the, what is this? This is 15-inch guns, right? So 380 or 381mm. But the British at the time were trying to convince everybody else in the world that they should limit their battleships to 14-inch or 356mm, which means they could hardly go around and tell everybody to do that and then not do it themselves. So also they didn't have any of the bigger guns. So they made the King George with the smaller setup. What we have here, though, is sort of what they were planning originally. We get 9 guns compared to the 10 on the King George. But we get a 21.5 second base reload, which isn't bad by battleship standards. We don't quite get the British gun setup, so very good high explosive and comparatively poor armor piercing in terms of alpha damage, and high fire chance. So this looks more like a traditional gun than the standard one. The turrets don't rotate particularly well, and the secondaries, while they are different in name, because for some reason these are 133mm and the King George has 134mm, makes no difference in practice. They're not particularly good. Okay, AA slightly better on the Yukon, and concealment also noticeably better. So we have a relatively stealthy version of the King George with, for all intents and purposes, better guns. Although it's difficult to tell. I mean, it's a bigger caliber, you get one less, and it's not the British layout. The big difference here for me is in the turn time. But there's another ship we need to compare this to, and that is the Monarch at tier 8, because obviously we don't have the same hull and the same armor plating, but the guns, at least on paper, look suspiciously similar. So these are the Monarch's guns, with a slightly longer reload, not as much range, and obviously lower damage, significantly lower damage numbers. So while they are the Monarch's guns on paper, they are very much not the Monarch's guns in practice. But still interesting to see. So, and yeah, the Monarch also shares the base turn time with the King George, whereas the Yukon is playing more like that. She reminds me a lot of the Hood in some regard, to some degrees, because the Hood's also got the 380 mils, and I like, and it's also a fast battle cruiser sort of things. And while I'm not particularly fond of fast battle cruisers at top tiers, at tier 7, that's a different story. So what can we do setup wise? You get two choices. You can either get traverse speed, or you can get the reload down and get a little bit traverse speed. Given that you can't fit the precise aiming module, you might as well put the traverse module in, which gives you the 20%, and get the reload from the elite bonus. So that's what I've picked here. And yeah, you could go for main battery mod reload. Haven't tested it. I don't know how sturdy the turrets are, because yeah, it does dent your turret survivability quite a bit. You could go for secondary mod. I wouldn't recommend it, and the other choice would be secondary range and AA range. The AA isn't bad for tier 7, so, but it doesn't get a defensive AA, so it's not an AA ship by itself, so that's all right. And the rest is the standard battlecruiser setup. You could maybe go for concealment if you wanted to, but I don't know. I'd rather be moving around guns blazing, because this is once again tier 7. Commander skills. Nothing special, because there aren't any significant skills that you can use on to do anything with the scout plane. Scout plane obviously extending your range, so that is quite a nice addition there. So it's just a standard battleship setup, nothing special here really, and you also can't share with anything. So it's just really it's your choice, but there's not an awful lot. You probably want the APCS down the road. And that's kind of the only important skill that you have there. Historical camo. If you, I don't know if there's a special camo somewhere in a crate or in a Blitz pass. I haven't looked, but this is the historical one that you can buy from the shop, which gives you hit points, range, dispersion, and yeah, nobody cares about torpedo damage reduction. But dispersion and range are nice to have. So. Let's try this thing out. Tier 7 battle cruiser with sort of Monarch guns, but also sort of not. Actually, before we do that, let's check one more thing. I want to see how she compares to the Hood. There we go, Hood. Let's add that to the comparison, because I'm quite fond of the Hood. Let's see how the guns compare. Obviously, the Hood gets the precise aim. Yeah, they are reasonably similar. I mean, the Hood's guns are still better, but she only gets 8 of them. The Hood works pretty well at long range, whereas this thing needs to kind of get a little bit closer. But maneuverability is unparalleled. Even the Hood doesn't get the base turn time of that thing. So I'm quite fond of the Hood, but I'm playing them in a reasonably similar way. And now I have way too many ships. There it is. All right, let's get that thing into battle. In the first battle, we are on New Dawn playing Domination and up against Graf Zeppelin, Ise, Nagato, New Mexico, Indianapolis, Dallas, and Jervis. Just one destroyer, but double Graf Zeppelin. Graf Zeppelin obviously being a fun carrier. Especially right now, because I've been recording these games when the leagues have just rolled over. And the first couple of days after the league rollover are always, they can be a bit special. So you can get teams that are at all tiers that are doing very, very interesting things. Anyway, so what do we have? We have a fast mobile battle cruiser with very nice guns for a tier 7 ship, and not the greatest amount of armor out there. So you do have to be careful when you're getting shot at. But she does almost 29 knots and has great maneuverability. Anyway, there's a Dallas, so scout plane up so we can see. And there he comes around, so let's get the shots out. I might have a bit overshot here. No, it's got one on target. There's the Jervis right ahead of me, so we do need to be a bit careful. There's also the Graf Zeppelin trying to torpedo drop me. I don't know if he is, but let's get that Dallas out of the way, because he's giving me a nice flat broadside. There comes some Jervis torps. That's why I'm already in reverse. Not sure if these were Jervis torps, but yeah, that's what you can do to a Dallas. That's broadsiding. Okay, there's one torp. Oh, that's actually a good job from the Jervis. Gonna take a couple of torps, but should be able to avoid most of them. That's why I was holding the damage control. Don't get baited into damage controlling single fires, I keep saying that. I've got the high explosive loaded, but now I've got the Nagato shooting at me from the left as well. So don't underestimate, or don't overestimate your armor. You don't have an awful lot of it, and you gotta be a bit careful. That's what you have maneuverability and everything else for. Okay, Jervis. What's he trying to do? Is he gonna rush me? He is coming under air attack. So if there were torpedoes, I've baited them out hopefully now. So full ahead, turn full hard right rudder, and see if the Jervis doesn't seem to have dropped torpedoes, which is odd. He should have reloaded by now. Not sure what he was waiting for. Okay, let's see if the Jervis is coming around. Otherwise, we're gonna have to turn around. But yeah, Nagato obviously can hurt quite badly. So we're undetected right now because the Jervis is hiding behind. Oh, the Jervis is dead. Never mind. Somebody killed the Jervis. All right, so that's 2 down, which means I can switch back to the armor piercing, and we're going to get ourselves C-cap and then see what else we can shoot at. The enemy carrier looks mildly exposed back there. Maybe we can get some shots onto that thing. Yeah, the scout plane is great because because of the range extension, and because it obviously allows you to do things like destroyer spottings, but mostly because of the range extension. Unfortunately, it is pretty difficult to aim with the scout plane up. So I'll show you what I'm talking about here while I'm trying to zoom in and lock onto the Graf Zeppelin, because the lock-on doesn't quite follow as it usually does once you're in that scout plane view. And yeah, dispersion isn't doing me a favor here either, but it can get a little tricky at long ranges at targets that are moving towards you or moving away from you. Lateral movement is fine, but moving towards you or moving away from you in the scout plane view can get a little iffy with the targeting. But that should be the end of the enemy Graf Zeppelin. There he goes. And now we run out of things to shoot at. There's a Nagato over there, but I'm probably not going to reload before he hides behind that mountain. So it's time to turn left and get around. Obviously, turret traverse is one of your main problems, but I find that with the traverse module and with the traverse reload bonus, they are turning fast enough. If you feel that it's still not enough, you can also get the other elite bonus and have a better traverse. And yet 29 knots on a battleship allows you to change flanks relatively quickly when it is warranted. But yeah, I would say unless something massively goes wrong, this game should be won by now. Maybe we can still get some shots off at the Nagato before the friendly Graf Zeppelin kills him. Yeah. And yeah, these are punchy 380 millimeters. They're quite fun. They're not as brutal as the Hood's guns. I love the Hood's guns, especially at close range. But if you're top tier, so if you're bottom tier, you might have to play a little bit more at long range, right? But if you're top tier, you can play quite mobile in the ship. And just didn't get him. And you know. To do interesting things to enemy ships with these guns. Let's see if we can snatch the Indianapolis there. He's kind of making up his mind if he wants to move forward or not, so not leading an awful lot. And I think the first salvo missed, but I've still got one out. We have lost our Ismail, but yeah, that Indy's dead, and that's that. And that just leaves the New Mexico that we can go and farm. And yeah, the friendly Graf Zeppelin is coming along. As one does in the Graf Zeppelin. You don't sit still in that thing, it's got guns. What are these for? Scout plane up, just to get some angles. You do have to watch out that you can actually get the elevation. So right now I probably wouldn't be able to lob, but that should work. So shots out once again. And see how much we're hitting. Yeah, 3 hits out of 9. It's kind of what you can expect at these ranges with the dispersion. So it's really more a ship for players who like to play maneuverable and who like to play somewhat aggressively. If you're just trying to long range snipe, the guns just don't have the accuracy for it, right? I mean, this is with you need to get there. You see it, right? You need to get down to like 8 kilometers or so in order to get some reliable hits in. I mean, you can shoot at longer ranges. And on occasion, it's a good thing, because if something is just outranging you and you just need Let's see if we can get the kill. No, I don't think so. Oh no, we can. I was the last ship alive, alright? Doesn't count, I wanted that one. Graf Zeppelin still gets the MVP. And but we have managed to get 4 of them. Yeah, you can kind of play it at long range, and the lack of armor sort of makes it feel that way. But I would say it's more of a mid-range ship. In the second game, we are up against Löwenhardt, Colorado, Nagato, Fuso, Belfast, Bliska, and Scorner. Yeah, if you're top tier, you can play this a little bit more aggressively, but still things like even a Fuso can hurt. So play it more on the cruiser side. That's what you got. That's what you've got the maneuverability for, than on the battleship side. So she is actually surprisingly good at dealing with destroyers, because once again of the maneuverability. All right. It's a carrier battle, so I am going to stick with the destroyers and see if I can do some AA defense duty in case that is warranted. But and obviously if we see the cruiser, we can do something about the cruiser. Now someone is going to be at that edge and is going to be working that edge. It's going to be either one of the destroyers or whatever else comes around. Okay, 1DD is spotted by the carrier. It's on the other side. And I do have a Jervis and a Gaja with me, so okay, that's the what was it? Belfast? Yeah, I believe Belfast. Okay, so scout plane up. Once again, we don't need to be thrifty with it because we've got plenty of charges of that thing. Shots out at the Belfast. He's going undetected. Not sure if I can hit something there. Yeah, 2 hits in, not too bad. Maneuvering target, and there's a destroyer here somewhere as well. So that's expected. Maneuvering target, obviously. Hard to hit at ranges. So see if I can. I should be able to lob that ledge still. Is he going to stop? Yeah, I think he's slowing down. So let's see how much we can get done lobbing over that ledge, and if we can get over the ledge. I would call that a yes. Okay, there's the Bliskovice, and the Belfast is starting HE spamming me. So if these two are working together, and you're seeing how quickly I am taking damage even just from Belfast HE. So if these two are working together, then there's the double fire, yeah, has the Damacon, and have to back off because Bliska torps are fast and very good at causing floods. But yeah, Belfast, you don't want to sit there. You do realize I can lob this, right? I'm just backing off until my repair kit starts coming off cooldown. I might be able to get a blind shot off at the Belfast, but we are getting a little far away, so I think my angles are getting flatter now. Yeah, now he is safe. So let's get forward again. And given that we have no cruiser support on this side, and the carrier cannot be bothered either, let's go and deal with the Bliskovice ourselves. That's why I'm loading the high explosive. And we're going forward. There's the Bliska. Obviously, Belfast immediately starts HE spamming me again, but my damage control is going to come off cooldown relatively soon. Okay, Bliska is smoking. Blind shots out because it looked like he was going in the turn. Yep. Called it. And then we'll turn away to dodge any eventual torpedoes. Couple of secondary shots out. Just reverse, just change the speed, which also helps. Oh no, he's not. I don't think he's torped us. So we can go forward again. And scout plane up just to get a better view and a better angle of where he's going. Full turn maybe. I might have had to lead a little bit more. Leading, like I said in the previous game, can be very, very difficult with if they're not moving parallel to you, but if they're moving away from you when you're in that scout plane view. So those have missed. At long ranges against destroyers, you're going to struggle. But needless to say, I'm not damage controlling that single Belfast fire. I'm just waiting for his smoke screen to expire. I've already got the AP reloaded, just in case the... Will you look at that? That was nice. Just in case the Belfast comes around. And there he comes. Okay, hello, Mr. Belfast. So his smoke obviously will be ready again soon. But I don't have a radar or anything. I think he's stopping there. I just want to push now at this side, because the Bliska should be on low enough hit points that we can do something. And the Belfast has given up on trying to HE spam me, and the destroyers are starting to run low on hit points. So Belfast obviously having to deal with multiple destroyers is not an easy task. Okay, Belfast is smoking up. So blind shots out to where he should be in his smoke, unless he's moving forward. Yeah, he's been moving forward. Okay, there come the Bliska torps. So Bliska's out of torps right now. So now I'm using poor man's radar, my secondaries. Because you can use the secondaries at this range to spot where the ship is. So he's sitting, you can use the tracers and the secondaries. He's sitting right about here, shots out. Let's see if we can hit him. Yeah, that looked better. And he got very lucky there not to be outright deleted. So yeah, just because you're in the smoke doesn't mean I don't know where you are. There he comes, hello, and that's going to be a dead Belfast once I've got my main guns reloaded. Obviously the turret traverse being a bit of an issue, but with the buffs from the modules, that's not a problem. Okay, dead Belfast, and that just leaves 2 destroyers and the carrier. So something is smoking up there in the cup circle, but I've got the AP loaded. So let's get the carrier into range with the scout plane and see if we can sink a. I'm not sure if he's moving. Could be moving, I'm not 100% certain. Hello, Mr. Bliskovic, full on reverse, hard turn left to dodge the inevitable torpedoes. Have I? No, I know that he hasn't moved. And the Nürnberg takes him out. Okay, that means we can after we've taken these 2 torpedoes here, we're gonna switch to the high explosive, and now we're gonna chase ourselves a Bliskovic. Obviously not damage controlling the single fire, because that's the gimmick of the Bliskovic. Fast reloading torpedoes, double fire. Yeah, I'm confident enough that I can dodge in that ship, that I'm going to damage con a double fire. But I will with 1 anyway. So now it's just a matter of hunting these guys down. Shells are a bit on the slow side, and yeah, RNG can be questionable. Need to lead a bit more. Once again, you should be reloaded. Hard right rudder, full on reverse, just to dodge the next torpedo spread. There it comes. Oh, that was not a bad one. Okay. I need to go forward again to maintain my rudder control. I'm gonna take 1. Yeah, 1 doesn't help you. And at that range, eventually my guns will hit you. So that should be a dead Bliskovic, and that's game. All right, there we go. And that is the Yukon, a tier 7 battle cruiser with really nice guns. Not an awful lot of armor, but great maneuverability. It's not the British battlecruiser HE spammy sort of type, so you will be using the armor piercing. But this is a fun ship. I'm certainly enjoying that. And do you want? I have no idea how much it costs in terms of resources. If you want to spend it, it's up to you. But this is not a bad ship. So this is a ship I would actually play at tier 7. A bit more difficult if you're bottom tier, but not always. So yeah, definitely a ship I'd play. Anyway, that's it for me today. Thanks everybody, and I'll see you next time. Bye bye.